So the principles of a meritocracy, the principles of academic excellence are the things that keep Stuyvesant going and are in place to this day.
Stuyvesant represents what is best for the future of American public education across the nation. It is altogether fitting that Stuyvesant should honor one of its own today here on the campus of the University of Texas. Another great public institution which Hans helped to build in his time as chancellor and the last 20 years here as a professor in aerospace engineering.
In February 1969, Dr. Mark became director of the NASA Ames Research Center. After 8 years at Ames, in 1977, Dr. Mark received word from the Pentagon that he would be offered the post of Undersecretary of the Air Force. In this position, he was responsible for overseeing and coordinating all space activities of the U.S. Air Force. Additionally, it was the cover for the title of Director of the National Reconnaissance Office, a then classified agency charged with the management of the nation's intelligence-gathering satellites. Shortly before his 50th birthday, he accepted leadership of one of the nation's 5 military branches. Dr. Mark served as Secretary of the Air Force for 2 years under Presidents Carter and Reagan. Although he and his wife were happy in the Washington, D.C. area, Dr. Mark discovered in March of 1981 that President Reagan was going to nominate him as Deputy Administrator of NASA. In 1984, after leaving NASA, Dr. Mark was named Chancellor of the University of Texas System. He served until September 1, 1992, when he decided to focus on his work as Senior Professor of Aerospace Engineering at the University of Texas at Austin. In 1998, Dr. Mark took a leave of absence from the university to return to the Pentagon in the Department of Defense as the Director of Defense Research and Engineering. He was the Chief Technical Advisor to the Secretary of Defense and the Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition, Technology, and Logistics. Once again, Dr. Mark was involved in improving the nation's defenses. He worked to modernize the ballistic missile defense system, and in particular our sea-based defenses. In 2001, Dr. Mark returned to his position as a professor of aerospace engineering. His inspiration and great help to his students are well known in the department.
First of all, this award is very important, but you notice there are several times the word former was mentioned. The fact is that I'm the ultimate has-been. Okay? That's a pretty good place to be, actually, but
everyone in their life has a teacher or two, if they're lucky, who has changed the way they live and who they are as people. Mr. Jensen was one of those for me.
Sterling Jensen was my English teacher at Stuyvesant, and he was the first person who ever said anything to me complimentary about my voice. He told me I had a great voice, I should become an actor. He said we had to get my voice up out of my diaphragm and out through my mouth. Well, I never thought of myself as an actor and never tried, but I did become a sportscaster, and I do credit Sterling Jensen with putting that thought in my mind about my voice. He's the man.
I think his students, and certainly the theater, were the entirety of Sterling's life. He was passionate about them. He gave everything to them, and I think he felt very, very satisfied and pleased with his life, you know, for doing that.
They caught fire from him and did work beyond what you would expect of people of their age, and they almost looked professional. And that was Sterling's contribution. Make people bigger than themselves. Reach for the stars.
Sterling changed millions of lives.
Mr. Jensen, thank you for making us better people in so many ways.
So God bless Sterling. He gave a lot to me and a lot to his students and a lot to everyone who ever met him. In fact, anyone who ever met him always thought he was their best friend.
And that is, we need to keep that school currently as great as it can be and make sure it stays strong, which I could go into a speech about. The bottom line of why I do this is to preserve what it is that that school represents.
And in order to remain competitive, Stuyvesant needs to step up its game. And I think that's something that the administration has recognized and is trying to work with, but that also requires funding. Perhaps when you went to school, you didn't fly all over the country to go to national competitions. That's something that we do today. And when we fly and we go to places, we win.
That is now required, because nothing is free in this world anymore, and particularly in New York, you know nothing is free, to allow them to go to the theater. So the bottom line is this: I'm going to ask you to help me participate in this form of magic. And please join me in helping support and keep our band strong. Thank you so much.